Hello everybody, it's 15 minus 2. Yeah, it's very nice to see you all here again. It's another bearded quail vlog. It's to do with this bag of goodies that I've got over here. On Saturday I travelled with Priestley Paul to Edinburgh, and for the first time for me I visited Claymore, a wargaming convention show type event that takes place every year, start of the festival in Edinburgh at Edinburgh College. Now, Paul has been a couple of times before and told me that a good reason to go is to have a troll through the second-hand bin. And this bag here is full of things from the bring and buy section. A couple of new things, but mostly some old things that were picked up there. So I thought I would bring out some of the toys here and talk a little bit about what bargains and little bits and pieces were found. So, this first item here is a Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Land Raider. There's also in the bag here the sponson gun and lights. This is all complete, all as you can see painted in Iron Warriors colours. This new, one of these kits costs about £40, something like that. This racked in at a mighty £5, so the frugal Scotsman was very happy to pick that up for some armour. The only thing that's a little intimidating is how to strip the paint down if I choose to paint it up in my own army's colours, but cross that bridge when we come to it. It's already in a chaos colour, not the end of the world. Poking out here we have one of the newer items that I got, which is Aggro. Aggro is a little war game from Ainsty Castings, who you might have heard of. They do some figures and terrain pieces. Aggro is a game of playing 70s football hooligans having a punch-up. An examination of the art here and the pictures will very much set the tone here. This is not a high-stakes game in the 41st millennium or an exciting 55,000 figure infantry charge. This is 12 blokes coming out of the pub to beat up another 12 blokes who support the wrong team. It's very British in concept and has a little bit of tongue-in-cheek going on. It's not a serious historical game, but that seemed like a good laugh to me. Now, you can possibly make out the sign there. Legion of the Damned figures for £7. This is a set of 5 metal Legion of the Damned from the 2000s, I think. I'll need to double check. Again, 5 figures, a couple of pieces not attached, but everything is complete. If you're familiar with Legion of the Damned, they are Space Marines who have a sort of skull, bones and fire motif going on. These are quite solid, chunky white metal figures. It comes with 3 armed with bolters, 1 sort of captain and 1 flamethrower. Now, the only thing about Legion of the Damned is they're not Chaos Marines. They're actually sort of good guys. That's an unusual choice for me. But I figured that Sister Superior and her metal fan aesthetic would appreciate that skulls and fire and black, it's all quite, I believe the phrase used was Kiss Army, yes? Yes, so that seemed tempting, and a little change from painting purple and pink. Another little bag here. This one's not quite as full, but it's still got its charms. This is 2 plastic Chaos Spawn. Now, these are a fairly modern kit, but a big appeal here, I'm going to come closer to get this, again one of the parts is off but it's all complete, is the quality of the paint. Now, usually when I get second-hand figures, I just strip down and repaint them all. But these are actually really nice. I'm kind of loath to do anything to them because nothing I do will be an improvement on what this is. So these two chaps are probably staying as is and will be there to provide some tentacled gribblies to my forces of darkness. Now, this one's a bit erratic. These two Chinese takeaway containers contained bits boxes. They were just £3 each and they contained piles of things. Figures, arms, hands, bases. Previously Paul and I got 2 of these and we divided up the contents between us. So this is the main one for me. It's got some large guns there from I think a Forge Fiend and some sorts of flamethrowers there as well. They'll be quite useful for conversions. There are 10 of these guys. Frostgrave, not cultists, like flagellants, servants. But they'll look like chaos cultists, and that's why we'll use them. There's 10 of those. There's a pile of various Space Marine bits going on here as well. You'll see again guns, arms, and this second box is very similar. This appears to be more World War II-ish historical figures, and also somebody decided that the world needed Miami Vice figures, I don't know. Again, this year, it was part of it, just to get the bits from here was worth the money. So these extra pieces will, I'm sure, find use in some sort of conversion somewhere. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but George, the one thing you don't have enough of is dice. Surely you got more dice when you were there to fill that space in your life where there isn't enough dice. Well, you're right. I did get more dice. I got six-sided dice. Nothing too special. I got these little hot pink ones. And this pink one here, which has an elephant symbol on it. I have 3 more animal dice here. I've got quite a few of these already. These were ones I didn't have before. I have crab, scorpion, and orca. I appreciate some of you are like sciencey nerds and would complain if I called it a killer whale because it's closely related to dolphin as opposed to a whale. I know that. I appreciate your biological cetacean concerns. So, yep, some more things for the dice bag there. And also a little bit more paint. I was running low on Army Painter Soft Tone Quick Shade, one of their lighter shades. Again, just paints all over a figure when finished to shade in the recesses, and this is a kind of brownie one for using light colours. Static, my local game shop, only has boxes of the full, all like 6 or 7 different shades, and have the individuals of this, so I got that. And some more alien purple, because when your entire army is like 90% purple paint, you go through this stuff. Now we're nearing the end, boys and girls, we're nearing the end, but there are still some tricks left in this bag, and here's one. The more old Hammer people amongst you may recognise this. This is a 2nd ed Blood Bowl troll. I'll need to check. I think it actually might be the troll from the Chaos All Stars, but I'll get back to you on that one. This and Ogre from the same vintage were £4 for the 2 of them. So Paul and I got those and split those between us. One of my to-do projects is a Chaos All Stars team, and they can have ogres and orcs and dark elves and trolls, as well as generic chaos people. So he will probably go in that team. The Chaos All Stars, a Chaos Pack team, is very much a 2nd ed style design, so it makes sense to use those things. Now this was the find of the day. I said this was the find of the day. Find of the day. find of the day. So the find of the day was this object here. Now, I might take a little minute here to examine. You might see a little sign there that was put on this. It said Chaos Minotaur, £5, and then in the metal you might see the occasional horn or body or what have you. Now, previously Paul and I were vultures of Trading Hall 3. We were keeping our eyes peeled across looking for the weak gazelles that were going to drop the bountiful wargaming meat. But I wasn't as good a vulture as Paul was, because I saw this and went, Chaos Minotaur? I don't really want a Minotaur. Paul said, George, count the arms. And it's only when I did that I realised what he meant. Because Minotaurs have 2 arms. This figure comes with 4. Because this is not a Minotaur. This is a 1989, 1990 original lead Keeper of Secrets figure from the Realms of Chaos books. This is the Slaanesh Greater Demon in its original Old Hammer incarnation. Now, I got this as a Chaos Minotaur for £5, but if I tried to get that on eBay, I would consider myself lucky to spend £15 on it. So that's another frugal Scotsman wing, but it's also a good day to be a member of the Prince of Excesses side when you get to add some new demonic goodness. But if that's not retro enough for you, I've got something more obscurely retro in here. I've got something from the first ever Games Workshop wargame I ever played. Now that first big box wargame wasn't Warhammer or Warhammer 40,000. It wasn't Epic or Necromunda. No, it was Man o' War, the early 90s Warhammer Fantasy naval combat game. And in this £20 box, we find an entire Dark Elf fleet is represented. There are 3 large and 2 small sea monsters. That was the main Dark Elf ships, were sea monsters with castles on them. And the Black Ark of Nagaroth. It's in pieces, but all its pieces are present. The sort of flagship of the fleet. Now, sorry, give me a second here. Oh, the planet destroying carcinogens. This is a glorious blast from the past. It takes me back to inflation and unemployment and no, that's last week. Anyway, yeah. These again go for substantially more than 20 quid for all of this. Getting the Black Ark itself for £20 on eBay would be a miracle. So getting an entire fleet for this reasonably obscure game was a real boon. So it might not be the find of the day, but it was a very positive find nonetheless. And I can stop now, right? Well, excuse me a second. The video was now interrupted for a story that I didn't want to tell, but Sister Superior informed me that if I didn't tell it, she would never sleep with me ever again. So, yes. The Black Ark of Nagaroth, this big vessel here, is a... I owned this back in 1992, thereabouts. And this is back in the old days, when Games Workshop didn't make things from lovely, safe, EU-friendly white metal. They made it with lead, okay? Lead, but it was okay to give to kids, apparently, because, you know... When I was trying to put this together in my house, on my dining room table, as you can see here, there's the castles, the body. So I glued the body, main hull together, and I tried to put one of these little castles in position in the middle of the deck. Now, at that point, I did something completely benign. I coughed. Routine. However, why I didn't realise why I was coughing is that I was holding this object in my hand, much smaller obviously because I'm 8 years old, go with the story, holding it in my hand, and I threw my hand forward to cover my mouth. And in doing so, I let go of this castle and threw it into my mouth. Now, at the stage where you get a surprise thing in your mouth, you basically have two choices, vomit or swallow. And Sister Superior will always tell you that she looks at me and thinks I look like a swallower. Well, you'd be right, because 8-year-old George's caveman brain takeover decided that the last thing it needed was to have a solid object in its mouth that it couldn't get rid of, and so I swallowed a 1 centimetre square piece of lead. Pointed castle-shaped lead. And I immediately start to have what can only be described as a meltdown, telling my parents that I'd swallowed lead and that I was going to get cancer and die. Now, naturally, my parents thought this tragedy that had befallen me was hilarious and giggled quite a bit at it. And tried to explain to me that I probably wasn't going to develop huge tumours from swallowing one piece of lead once. My mum played with mercury in chemistry class, right? So, I mean, if anyone's going to be picking up any heavy metal problems, it's not going to be me. Anyway. Of course, my physiology is a system where things cannot stay in indefinitely. So that forecastle had to come out the aft castle. I'm glad you find this funny. The situation I'm describing was taking place in my colon, okay? Anyway, there you go. Dave, you asked me a bit ago about what my biggest miniatures heartbreak was, and you're probably expecting some story about, like, resin broken or, like, a dropped harlequin. No, Dave, the biggest miniatures heartache I've suffered would probably be thinking that I was going to die because I'd swallowed a bit by accident, and then having to come to the horrible realization that there was only one way I could ever complete my Black Ark of Nagaroth, and that was to find what had happened to the forecastle. Happy, Sister Superior? Happy? Happy at my misfortune? Great. Anyway, I want to try and regain some of your respect, dear reader, at some point in the future. I'm not picking that up because with my track record with this kit, if I pick it up, I'll swallow it. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. I've got some painting to talk about in the future. I've got some role-playing to talk about in the future. I've got quite a bit of Blood Bowl to talk about in the future. That's been my big figure-based thing right now, but I'm going to leave it be at this point. So, until next time, rock over London, rock on Chicago, and spit, don't swallow. Find of the day.